Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Devil's Advocate, Trades Edition. There's a lot of things to talk about, if we're being honest. Like, there really is. So, I have a guest that's coming on. There's a couple that had to get, what's what I'm looking for, rebooked. And the one of them that's going to be rebooked is coming in March. And he's got a really amazing story. It's a drunk driver story. And he's basically like a phenomenon to even be alive. I've read his story, and he's going to come on with his mom because he does still have some really prominent delays and injuries that took place during that accident. So he's going to come on. But you know what? Super funny guy. If you pay attention, you can see that, he is actually quite witty and he's funny. So I'm excited for him to come on and talk about drunk driving and drinking and driving. And I think it's a big thing because in trades, addiction and alcohol abuse are a big thing. There's functioning alcoholics. There's people who need marijuana and cannabis to operate. And with it being legal in Canada, there's still a precedent. So there's still laws around, engaging in cannabis use, even if it's for medicinal purposes or for anxiety reasons or whatnot. So there's still laws in place to keep everybody safe. Safety protocols are still really big. And I think there's good takeaways from it too. Like, people that are operating company vehicles should not be drinking. My favorite thing to see is when you go to an establishment and you see like 6 or 7 of the same company truck and they're all in there doing some sort of function, and you see like jugs of beer on the table. And I'm like, that is a horrible precedent. Horrible. So all of you guys are going to have 1, 2, 3 beers and then get into your company vehicle and drive. Do you know how horrible that looks for your company? You guys are all a walking liability. And the worst is when I see that the managers, so when I say managers, I mean like the higher ups, the owners, the directors are doing this. It's like, you are setting the example to say it is okay to drink and drive in the vehicles that I provide you with my company name and the livelihood of this business. That is just disgusting to me. I'm not a fan of it. I don't like it. So don't do it. Maybe, I don't know, spitballing. What else is there? There's so much shit in the news. Like, you just get inundated with what's going on. The Epstein files got released. Trump's mentioned more times than Harry Potter is in all fucking 8 books. You know what I mean? Like, nothing we didn't already know. Some super graphic and disgusting things. Enablers and people that are part of it are redacted, but not the witness or not the victims. No. Let's victim shame. That's awesome. Let's be assholes over there in the United States in the Justice Department there, Pam Bondi. You're a fucking superstar. So let me tell you what pisses me off about shit like this is that we've got our own little problem right here in Alberta, and her name is Marlena. And my problem with things like this is that, she's over there in Mar-a-Lago. And so, you sit there and you think to yourself, if it walks like a duck and talks like a duck, maybe there's some more duck aspects that we should pay attention to before we right out call it a duck, or do we just call it a duck, right? Because if it walks like a duck, talks like a duck, maybe it's a fucking duck. I don't know. Maybe. But there's correlations of events, right? So you sit there and you look at somebody and you're like, okay, this person's going down to Mar-a-Lago. This person's rubbing shoulders with, an alleged pedophile. Like, what are you doing for your country? What are you doing for your province? What are you doing for yourself? Because nothing good is going to come from this. Even if you don't engage in anything. There was something an officer told me a long time ago when I was hanging around a bunch of fucking misfits, and he pulled me aside and he said, you know what, Lisa? Guilty by association. So find some new fucking friends. And I'll never forget when he said that to me. And did I find some new friends? Maybe not right fucking away, but eventually you're like, this is not going anywhere good. Maybe I need to just distance myself from these people. And I did. Right. And I never went to jail. I never got convicted of a crime. I never did anything like that. I mean, I shouldn't say that. I got like traffic. Is that considered a crime? Get pulled over, get a ticket. I mean, tickets are crimes. I don't get handcuffs on me. I went to school to be an officer. So I've got my police studies, extended certificate, plus I have criminology diploma. So I was very fascinated in the justice system, only to break my heart and find out that there is no justice system. There is a legal system, and that policing is very much a boys' club. Broke my heart when I was in my early 20s to figure that out. So, I look at all of those things and I just say to myself, like, it is what it is. I mean, could I have become a cop and been good at it? No. according to my professor, he was like, Lisa, you'd be a really great lawyer, but not a good cop. I think he used the word rogue was, you know, I was like, all right. But, and he wasn't wrong. You know, when you're someone who is a passionate person and you have a big voice and you have a big personality, sometimes being a cop where you have to follow a very fine line because there's so much fucking red tape. And I feel bad for a lot of cops, for a lot of good cops that are out there trying to do their job and they're just inundated with fucking red tape and bullshit. You know, they got to let people go or let things slide because, you know, whatever. I don't know. Stupid. I feel bad for them. It's no wonder cops are tainted. I mean, you can't even get mad at it. You can't even get mad at it. But then I'll tell you, so anyways, I'm going to bring it back. Why I'm mad with people like Marlena and Pam Bondi is because you look at the people like Carla Homolka and like, what's her name? Just Lynn Maxwell. These are women that are all capable of horrible things again and crimes against children. All of them in some way, shape, or form. Okay. All worse than the other on some level. But they're all crimes against kids on some level. And people are going to be like, Lisa, be careful what you say. It's my opinion. Danielle took out a whole bunch of things for the youth, for the trans youth. That's her, to me, that's a crime against children. You're stopping parents from obtaining medication that will stop them from hitting puberty. So puberty blockers. Guess what? My daughter got her period at 11. I didn't. That's too young. My daughter started hitting puberty early, and I didn't want that for her. Now, I didn't go to a pediatrician about it who might have suggested puberty blockers, you know, but I didn't do that. So my daughter went through it early and part of me kind of wishes I kind of knew about the puberty blockers for her because I probably would have, you know, implemented them till she was at least, you know, 12 or 13. But it is what it is. I'm not going to scream about it. I'm not, you know, calling her something else. I'm just saying, you know, like to me, that's a bit of a crime against children. Like you're strong arming, you know, your legislation of what you think should be based off of your own fucking personal agenda or the agendas of those who pay you. So, you know, or payroll you're on. I mean, you know. So, and what I struggle with as a female is that females are in itself powerful. We don't lose our minds completely. I mean, not all of us. The majority of us are pretty level-headed. People will say we're emotional. We're actually emotionally intelligent. So we're willing to feel every emotion and go through the process to move forward faster. I'm not saying no men are, but we're talking about majorities. Okay. Majority of females have more emotional intelligence than men. You know, people make jokes like, oh, well, when a woman's on her period, testosterone goes up. So she's really acting like a man when she's acting crazy. So she's acting. And I think all that shit's funny, but I'm not a doctor, so I'm not going to sit here and tell you that that's true or it's not true. I don't know, if I'm being completely honest with you. I mean, it kind of fucking tracks, but you know, I digress. But these are women that are supposed to, in my understanding, women who are supposed to protect children, who are nurturers, who pay attention, who have a logical mind as well as an emotional mind so they can come at it from two different angles. And when you're hurting the very thing that we're put here to create and nurture, I don't understand. You are making the patriarchy 20,000 times worse. One guy woke up one morning and said, we're going to do it this way, got a bunch of people on his bandwagon and said, yeah, fuck women, fuck blacks, fuck spics, fuck this, fuck that. We don't care about anybody. We're just going to do what we want to do. And it's the white man forever. And Jesus Christ is white. Well, no, he ain't fucking white. But anyway, I digress. But this is what happens. And then you get women on these boats. And not even just white women, colored women too, that go on these boats with these guys that are just on their side with the patriarchy. Because I'll tell you something, there's a lot of men now more than ever that do not side with the patriarchy. They are allies to women, allies to the LGBTQ. They are protectors of children. I've seen biker groups that are for this. I've seen, you know, men that are, you know, very well established in different industries, influencers that they're for. But there's also that aspect where I'm sitting there and I'm like, thank you for all of these people coming forward, but we are still submersed as women in a culture where if you speak up, your problem. That's still, it doesn't go away. Me speaking up, me being a podcaster, me having an opinion, well, I'm a problem. I'm a loudmouth. I'm probably a fucking loose cannon. Yeah, great, cool, shoe fits, right? But at the end of the day, they take away, when they say those things, the fact that I'm intelligent, that I do my job well, that I have an opinion that makes sense, that I'm not the only person out here that might feel these ways or might see the same things. So when I hear things like she's aggressive, she's this, she's that, I'm just like, yeah, cool. That sounds like an insecurity to me. Can't help you. It's not my job of how you perceive my communication. That sounds like a you issue, not an ish me. So issue, not ish me. So there's that. But with that being said, I get really angry when I see women, because they're not the only ones. They're just names that are out there right now that are in the press. So, but there's a lot of women out there that will do things, and people say, well, Lisa, you don't know their story. You're right. I don't know their story. I don't know what their story is, but I can tell you this. I'd rather be dead than to sell my children. I don't care what the amount is. I don't care if I'm going to lose my house and we're going to end up on the street. There's a will, there's always a way. There's always somebody that's going to make sure that my kids are okay. They have a father. He would never let them live on the street. Let's start there. Even though sometimes I think he's a jackass. He is not a monster. So, and I could figure it out. But I would never sell my children. I would never put children in the hands of somebody that I know would hurt them. I would never tell a child they're lying to me if they came and told me something. Of course, I'm going to investigate. I'm not just going to take everything at like their word at face value. I'm going to listen to everything. I'm going to ask questions. I'm going to make sure I understand that story and that it makes sense, because there are people, including children, that will lie in order to get their way or to get somebody in trouble. And I know that because my kids have done it. Not about something heinous, but about something that could have, if I was a crazy narcissistic bitch, it would have made my ex's life hell. Okay. But I know my kids, and I do know him regardless. I do know him, and I know he, for all the things he was to me, he's not a fucking monster to our kids. Although his colors are kind of showing with my daughter a little bit, and I'm getting a little bit upset about that. He needs to accept her for who she is. She's a young woman, and she's a young girl, and she's practically a young woman, and she has her own opinions, and she's funny, and she's silly, and she's mouthy, and that's just part of growing up. And he doesn't know how to handle it, and so he just gets quiet and grumpy, and he needs to just chill the fuck out. But anyway, he's also part of the patriarchy a little bit there, so he kind of swings on that side of the aisle. And I'm raising kids with big voices and, big dreams, and to go chase them and not to be scared and have blind faith in yourself and to be what you want to be. So that's what we need more of, not people suppressing people, is people uplifting and empowering. And there's so many people out there that are willing to do it. But when you're in a position where you feel like there's no way out, and you are going to help traffic children or help or sell your children or whatever the fucking case may be, because let me tell you, it fucking happens. Nobody wants to listen to it, but it happens. When you are in these positions that you are willing to do things like that, you're not a human anymore. And your own internal guilt will kill you. Most of them, unless you're a psychopath, sociopath, I don't know. But most people who have any type of conscience, even if they feel desperate, that's where, when people say, like when someone commits suicide, I'm like, some people would say suicide is a coward's way out. And I'm going to say, what? Sometimes suicide is the only way out, because they would rather be dead than to put anybody else in harm's way. And you know what? I would tell you that some people that probably commit suicide are heroes more than they are villains, So don't be so quick to judge when it comes to things like that. But this is what I'm talking about. Women who are in these positions where they are doing things that are just inexcusable. To me, as a woman, I would never. If a child screamed out mom, and it happens lots, kids will scream out mom, and I turn around. My kids aren't even there, and I turn around. Because if there's one thing, if you want someone to help you and you want to engage an adult, scream out mom. You're going to get at least 3 to 4 women that are going to turn around and they're going to come to your side and be like, what's going on? And let me tell you something, women are quick. They're not only will one pretend to be the mom, the others will pretend to be the friend, and it's go time. We will make sure we get you out of there and fuck up any motherfucker trying to fuck with you, So there's that. Now, I know that my bro was trying to go to, we're going to move into a new topic here. My bro was trying to go to Cuba, and then we heard what was going on in Cuba. And I'm saddened for the Cubans. They rely on their tourism and the fact that, Trump's sticking his goddamn nose everywhere. Like, just piss off, bro. Like, don't go away mad. Just go the fuck away. Like, how about that? It's my opinion. So now they're sending out, my girlfriend works for WestJet. They're sending out rescue flights, both from Air Canada and WestJet, to go pick people up in Cuba because they are running out of everything, from what I understand. And that is disgusting. I'm absolutely disgusted by that. So, once things start to kind of get a little better, I mean, I don't know, like, what do we do? Like, can we as Canadians just like send some shit down there? Like, I mean, I don't have a problem with that. Like, I'd get together a Cuban food drive and be like, whatever you got, we're going to like send it down there. Clothes, books, coloring books, stuff for kids, whatever they fucking need, toiletries, send it down to Cuba. But I'm hoping that Red Cross will step in. Hopefully, I don't know all the logistics around what's happening there. So what I do know is that people are getting rescued from Cuba to come back to Canada right now because everything's running out. They can't even feed themselves, let alone tourists, which is awful. So anyway, I just wanted to mention that because for me, it just seems to be this regime from the States, and is just, from the politicians in the States, not all of them, just, the main fucking character here, just seems to be bleeding in other countries of the Americas. And, it's not good. Like, Canada's fighting with him and he's talking about this fucking bridge. We own it. What are you talking about? We own the land on both sides. Like, get fucked, bro. We're not giving it to you. Like, just calm your tits. It's not happening. Okay. So I don't understand what, people just doubling down on stupid. My son asked me a question today. He goes, Mom, I don't understand MAGAs. Like the Make America Great Again people. And I'm like, yeah, there's Maple MAGAs too. He's like, what's a Maple MAGA? I'm like, oh, they live in Canada. He's like, oh my God. He's like, why do these people, after hearing what this person's all about and like how they know that Trump like basically like hurts kids and is an actual pedophile and blah, blah, blah. Like, why do they still like support him? And I was like, well, son, this is what we call double down on stupid. And he's like, well, what does that mean? And I had to explain what double down on stupid means. I'm like, it's basically people find out something about something. So people put a lot of support and effort into something. And then all of a sudden they find out it's a lie. Well, they're going to lie about the lie, which is doubling down on stupid. It's like, oh, that didn't happen. They misunderstood. Oh, he's just in there as a reference point. Oh, well, he gave a lot of the charities. He was a big name. People are just, it's a setup, like they're going to find excuses and reasons. They're going to enable the behavior. They're going to enable the person. And that's just my way of saying, and it's just a really nice way for me to say that they're stupid because they're just doubling down on it. So that's pretty much what happens with people like that. And it's true. A lot of people do it. A lot of people just double down on stupid. And so let's not do that. I don't know, like maybe. So, I mean, I'm really saddened that things are bleeding over into like all the countries in and around, like North America, South America, Central America. It's just bleeding everywhere. And I'm just, it's just upsetting. Like, I talk with my friends about what happened in the States with Renee Good and Alex Petty and there was another one. There was the baby car that blew up. Then there's a few more. Then there's this one woman I saw, she came on, and you can't believe everything you see on TikTok, but I don't know how many people can confirm or deny this, but there was a woman who came on and she seemed pretty legit, but I don't know, you always got to take things with a grain of salt. And she was like, Whatever they're telling you in Minnesota, how it's not as bad as it is, don't believe them. It's worse. They're arresting people. They're throwing them in jails, whether they're broken, this and that. I saw a woman actually get up in front of, this was legit, where she's talking to her governor in Minnesota and talking to them about what's going on and how she was pulled out of her car. She was going to a doctor's appointment. She had a brain injury, and they pulled her out of her car, well, cut her seatbelt, and basically caused more issues than not and hurt her. And she was telling them, I'm going to my doctor. I have a brain injury. Like, I need to get to my doctor. And they didn't care. And I'm like, yeah, like, and then when I talk to some of the people out here, and both, for the most part, most Canadians that I talk to are like, this is fucking disgusting. Like, what are they doing? It's horrible. But then there's others that are like, well, you know, if you think about it, I mean, like, ICE is within their parameters because they don't have crowd control, training, and, they don't know what's going on, and they could have really felt like they were feeling threatened and whatever. And I'm just like, bullshit. There doesn't need to be that much of a presence of them. They don't need to be in the middle of the street. Renee Good was right in her neighborhood. She was just leaving. She told them she was leaving. There was no reason. She wasn't showing any level of aggression. Same with Alex. Alex was just trying to pull somebody out of the way, got pepper sprayed, and was still trying to pull them out of the way. He was a carry, but he did not unholster his weapon, nor did he, or firearm, I should say. He had a carry permit, and he did not do anything threatening to threaten not only his firearm or them, especially when there's like 4 to 6 or 9 or something. Like, there was a bunch of them on him. So I don't buy it. Like, I listen to everything and I'm like, I'm sorry, but there's video. There's nothing showing me that these people are violently acting against ICE. They're probably being mouthy. Renee wasn't. She was like a little dot of sunshine there. But they're probably mouthy. They're probably like, get the fuck out of here. Like, what are you doing? Trying to help people, people around them. And then they get shot, or they get killed, or they get hurt, or they get dragged out of their shit. Like, it's too much, it's too much. And so this woman was going on about how it's really not good and it's really bad. And even the mayor is coming out and speaking in, is it the mayor? Yeah, they have a mayor. So I'm like, wait a minute. Their mayor, their governor, they're all coming out and saying, like, get the fuck out of Minnesota. Like, we don't want you. And if you look, there's a map that shows that all the high ICE saturated areas right now in the States are all blue states. Although I think it's funny, I did hear that they went out to Compton, and I'm not even going to lie to you. In Canada, we know your geography probably better than most. And when the minute any of us in Canada hear that ICE was stepped into Compton, I was like, if you don't know, now you know. I just laughed. I was like, well, I was dumb. Or maybe. I'm like, what did they think was going to happen? Did you think a bunch of guys out in Compton were going to be like, oh yeah, come on down, come take some of my neighbors? No. Now you're on their turf. Now it's a turf war for them. You know what I mean? It's like, no. So that was fun for me to watch. I'm not going to lie. I actually had a great laugh at that. And then New York doesn't pull punches. They don't give a shit. They fist to cuff those guys. They'll be like, they'll knock you out. I was like, yeah, go to New York. Let me know how that works out for you. There's a lot of feisty Americans, and even Minnesota's coming, they all are. All the blue states they're standing strong. They're like, fuck you. And you know what? People that are in red states are also standing with them. They're not all like that. Just because they voted high red doesn't mean that they don't feel the same way. There's a lot of them that feel the same way as the people that are a predominant blue state. So you can't just break them up like that. People are people. They're seeing what's happening, and who they voted for at one point might not be who they vote for now, but I'll tell you, they are standing with both sides. It's not one or the other. It's together. They're becoming more united. And I love that for the United States. So I hope you guys get this fixed sooner than later. It's like, I say that and it's like, oh yeah, like, just bring the car in and we'll just see what the noise is and get that fixed. You know what I mean? It's a lot more complicated than that. A lot of crazy in the Oval Office there. A lot of cheap gold. I think they spray painted it. Oh no, you know what they said? They said that they got it from Home Depot. I think that's what they said. Gotta love Home Depot. Anywho, that being said, I think I can pretty much wrap this up pretty quick. We're going to have some more people. I want to get more of a Canadian lineup coming up here. I do love my Americans. I did have some that were going to come on, and I wasn't 100% sure how it was going to roll because of some of their political affiliations. But you know what? I mean, for me, I like to be able to have the conversations with people and understand them. If I need to be a little feisty, I can. And if not, then hey, great. We can have a great conversation and prove to the world that, people are just people. Other than that, have a wonderful week. Don't let the guy that gripes about everything piss you off in your ear. You know, the one that every time you step on site, you're like, oh, this fucking guy. You know, the one that bitches about everything. Don't let him bug you. They exist everywhere. Trades is like breeds those fucking guys. There's always one in every crew. Anyway, don't let that guy bug you. For the women that are in trades, don't let any retaliations come at you. Make sure you're writing everything down, date, time, who's involved, and what happened. And make sure if your HR isn't listening, you only go to them twice. You don't go to them after that. You go to a lawyer. Don't sit there and try and go to them 3, 4, 5 times. If they ain't listening the first 2 fucking times, they ain't going to listen the other 5. So take it down, write down all your shit. Make sure you got some good note taken. If you can, record it because that'll date stamp it, time and date stamp it. And not necessarily be better video, because there's some places are like, well, you can't legally record me, but you can write it all down. So take notes, or record it for yourself and then take the notes. And then, don't let anyone make you feel scared or unsafe on your sites. Ladies, don't. It's not worth it. Your life is valuable and precious, and you might have an amazing skill, but there is a company out there that would happily have you without all of the fucking added drama, and that does have a good HR in their business that's all about bridging the gaps inside between employer and employee. So that's all I have to say. Everybody, you guys have like I said, an amazing week, and as always, don't do anything crazy.